I will hand it over to Dave Stanke, who has put so much work into, and we are so thankful for DORA.dev. And I will allow him to take us through and help us understand how we can all work together to collaborate to make DORA.dev a place that we can all benefit from. Dave?
Well, thank you, Amanda, and thank you all for having me and giving me a chance to show off the work that this team has been doing. I'm Dave Stanke. It's a pleasure to be part of this community. A quick intro. I spent my formative years as a CTO for a startup doing event ticketing in the performing arts. So if you've been to an off-Broadway show, off-Broadway, or off-Broadway for that matter, yeah, there's a distinction. In New York in the past 20 years, or the equivalent kind of theater scene in any number of other cities, there's a very good chance your ticket was issued by the system that my team made. And so when the Swifties crashed Ticketmaster, I got no sympathy for Ticketmaster, the company, but I sending all sorts of hug ops to the individuals over there because, man, ticketing is a hard technical business. Also, if you did manage to score tickets, say to Madison Square Garden, hit me up. Now, 9 years ago, I joined Google as a product manager, and then I made my way into developer relations, and that led me to the role I have now as an advocate on the DORA team, along with Amanda and Nathan. And as part of that work, I'm the product owner for our new website, DORA.dev. So let's get into it. Before I start showing off and giving a tour, the question is, why do we need a DORA.dev? The truth is that a lot of the things that you're going to see here have been around for a while, actually, but they've been scattered in a few different places and they've been in need of some updates. So this project was to pull them together, give them a new home, and most importantly, create a foundation for ongoing improvements. This is really the public face of our community that we can use to show off to our stakeholders as we bring DORA to those who are not yet converted. The folks maybe who aren't yet at this meeting, go shout at them with DORA.dev, and then as the conversation starts, bring them into the fold. So I'm going to present my screen here. And let's see, there we go. Click one of these guys, and we should see some DORA.dev. And here it is. So homepage, obviously, place for ongoing updates. When the new reports come out, you'll see updates here and other interesting things that might happen. And then we've got a tab for publication. So this is the one-stop shop where you can find the latest State of DevOps report, as well as prior State of DevOps reports. Folks, if you haven't read the old ones, I encourage you to go check them out, because every year there's a different interesting kind of article, and we don't always repeat the same research. It's constantly evolving. But the truth is that as fast as technology changes, these concepts and these human concepts really are pretty evergreen. So there is nuggets of wisdom in every one of these, and so you can grab them all from right here. We also have a few publications outside of the yearly State of DevOps, including this ROI paper, which is a really great way for making a case for why we should be doing these transformations to the folks who pay our paychecks, as well as this ebook for the DevOps Awards winners 2021. That's a selection of case studies, social proof that DevOps transformations can work, and they can work in places that people might not think they will. For example, banks or massive media corporations. There are stories like that here in this ebook. The next round of this is currently being finalized, and we'll be publishing those results shortly. We have a page for research. And so here we have our interactive BFD, that's big friendly diagram, showing kind of a snapshot of the predictive model. Each one of these items you can click and see a little quick explanation of what it is. This will also link into deeper, more comprehensive articles. And we have the ability to meet the DORA research team, the folks who do the hard work to make the analysis and put out the reports every year. I see at least one or two of y'all are on the call here today. So thank you to you, especially right now. They're deep in the middle of survey design right now. So heads up, the survey is coming. And of course, this group will be the first to know when we can go live and actually start responding to the survey. Now the capabilities catalog. This is my favorite part of my favorite website. This is a place where all of our capabilities, we provide an article about it. And these articles are really a wealth of information. Each one has a description of what is this thing, how do we implement it, how do we get started making this thing happen, and then one of the trickiest bits is how to measure. How do we know if we're doing it well? So the journey of a DORA-led DevOps transformation is about finding the capabilities that are your top priority to improve. And then that can leave us with the question of, okay, but how do we do that? And here it is, here in this capability catalog. So I really encourage you to share these. They're all very digestible, and share them with folks on your team. Then we have our quick check. Raise your hand. I can't see all your hands, but raise your hand if you've used the quick check. It's been available for a few years now, and it's been in need of an update, and now we've done it. So this new version, this new website, DORA.dev, publishes the new quick check with updates, including the latest research data. And so the quick check, if you haven't had a chance, is a tool that lets you very quickly assess your 4 key delivery metrics and get kind of a quick snapshot score. So I'm going to answer these questions based on what it was like at my old startup. We weren't exactly at the top of our game, but we tried. So we were deploying about once a week-ish. Lead time, we usually didn't overlap releases very much. That was about a week. And I remember the head of sales once said to me, Dave, it seems like every time you do a deploy, pretty soon you do another deploy, like the real deploy. I was like, yeah, because the first one stunk. So I had about a 50% change failure rate. And then time to restore, was able to quickly get back in there and patch that code. So less than a day. Our principal industry was, of course, media and entertainment. So that gives me a score of 38 compared to other folks that we've studied in our research. Perhaps more importantly, 38 compared to me. This gives me a sense of where I'm at and where I might want to look to improve. But going deeper, I'm going to want to figure out, what can I do specifically? Where are my priorities? One thing I want to do before I go any further, I'm going to copy this URL and just show you that it can be pasted, shared around with your friends, other folks in your organization. They can take it from there. All the information is contained right in the URL there. So I'm going to click Help Me Prioritize. And what this does is it gives me a selection of capabilities. Now, these may or may not be the ones that are most important for you in your organization, but they're things that in our consultancy work we've seen are often something to look at and kind of give a taste for what it's like to self-reflect on these capabilities. So we've got continuous integration, which we found is really at the nexus of a lot of other capabilities. It's per our last report, we said it was a key integration point for security efforts. Loosely coupled architecture, seen this one many times. It's often one of the hardest. It's a lagging one because it's one of the hardest to undo, but it's very powerful. And finally, generative organizational culture, our favorite from the Ron Westrom model, which really unlocks so much ability to make change in other parts of your organization. Then I'm going to find how I'm doing relative within these particular items. Looks like I'm pretty cool in my culture, but man, I got to turn up my CI game. And then from there, I can click on any one of these to get to that capability article, and that's going to tell me how I can make progress on it. We have a resources page, which contains things like our open source repo 4 keys, the Accelerate book, and oh, wait a minute. I feel like that shouldn't be a comma. That should be something different. Well, never mind. We'll come back to that. And lastly, there's a link to the community site, which is how this group that we're in right now self-assembles and also continuing to evolve and have more resources. Now, I want to show you real quick kind of how this sausage is made. The site is hosted on GitHub, and we make use of things like the issues, the discussions tab, pull requests can be open. And if I look at issues, I see, oh, look, we already have a bug open to fix that comma, because that really probably should be a colon. And oh, Amanda, thanks. Looks like you've opened up a PR for us. And in here, we have a preview for that PR. This is generated using Cloud Build. So we have a Cloud build sequence hooked up to this. It's going to do 3 steps. The first is it runs Hugo, which is our static site generator, to spit out all those pages. Then we're hosting on Firebase and making use of the preview channel functionality. So the preview channel is a way to provide isolated ephemeral environments that we can use in links to a pull request. And then lastly, we have a bash script that actually posts that information onto the pull request to say, here's where you can go look at it. And then over in the Firebase side, we're using the hosting features. There's also a lot of other great stuff in Firebase. If folks aren't aware, Firebase is a mobile and web kind of toolkit. It includes like real-time database and authentication stuff. It's really pretty sweet. It's part of Google Cloud, and it's how we're hosting DORA.dev. So now that we've seen how Cloud Build is running CI for that, we can go back to the PR. We can take a look at this preview link that was published there. This is specific just to this PR. And I can go over and look at that resources page, and I can say, okay, good. It is indeed a colon now, which is just a little more grammatical. So back to my PR, and I'm going to submit my review, and I'm going to say review changes, LGTM, thanks, approve, submit. And now a different trigger, a different pipeline from Cloud Build is going to pick that up after I squash it, of course. It's going to pick that up, deploy it, and it is going to be on its way to production. So with that, I will turn it back to you, Amanda. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for approving my PR in such a timely manner. I truly appreciate that.